Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about endometrial carcinoma. Let's first discuss its incidence. It is higher in US, lowest in India and Japan. It is the most common malignancy of the female genital tract in North America. In order to the common incidence, the other two locations are ovary and cervix. In US, it is 1 in 40 women, occurring 1 in 40 women. In India, it is the third most common malignancy after the cervix and ovary. Etiology. The exact cause of this condition is not known, but there are certain probable factors which lead to endometrial carcinoma. These are first estrogen. There is continued stimulation of the endometrium with unopposed estrogen that will lead to this condition. The patient is about the age of 60 years. So it is the endometrial carcinoma is one of the causes of the postmenopausal bleeding per vagina that is seen in 10% cases, or in 10% cases the cause would be endometrial carcinoma. If we see the parity, it is most common or it is quite common in unmarrieds. That means it is more common in the nulliparous women because we consider pregnancy only after the marriage, right? It is also occurring in the marrieds who are nulliparous. If you compare this with the CA cervix, the CA cervix is more common in the multiparous women. It is more common if menopause is achieved late by 52 years. So when the woman gives you the history of late menopause and when her present complaint is postmenopausal bleeding per vagina, you can think of endometrial carcinoma as its probable diagnosis. Other factors are corpus cancer syndrome with obesity, hypertension and diabetes. Functioning ovarian tumor causes unopposed estrogen stimulation and that will lead to increased risk of endometrial carcinoma. PCOD increases the risk due to persistent hyperestrogenic state. There is more risk of endometrial carcinoma if tamoxifen is used for long time in treatment of breast cancer, right? So that may be the probable cause of the endometrial carcinoma. There may be associated fibroid in 30% cases. Endometrial hyperplasia precedes the carcinoma in 25% cases generally. So this we talked about the probable factors of endometrial carcinoma. Now we come to clinical features. Patient is usually nulliparous. Patient is in the postmenopausal age and she may give you the history of delayed menopause. She may be obese with hypertension or diabetes. Symptoms: postmenopausal bleeding that is present in 75% cases of endometrial carcinoma. The bleeding may be slight, irregular or continued. Sometimes the bleeding may be watery, the blood may be watery, but sometimes it may be offensive discharge that is due to pyometra. Pain may be colicky due to uterine contractions occurring to expel the polypoidal growth. Sometimes the patient may be asymptomatic, that is in less than 5% cases you will find that the patient with endometrial carcinoma does not develop any symptoms. Pelvic pressure, pain or abnormal bleeding in late cases, it may be present. If we see the signs on pelvic examination, we go for the per speculum examination. What you find in that? Healthy cervix with blood or purulent offensive discharge which is coming out from the external os. Bimanual examination shows uterus either atrophic, normal or maybe enlarged due to spread of tumor, associated fibroid or pyometra. The uterus is mobile in the early stage of carcinoma and it is fixed in the late stage. The rectal examination supports the bimanual findings. Now, how can we diagnose this condition? It is done by different ways, like tumor marker. Serum CA125 elevated level indicates advanced disease. Pap smear is not reliable to detect CA endometrium. Endometrial biopsy is very much reliable. It is reliable in more than 90% cases. Ultrasound and color Doppler, that we go for transvaginal sonography. What findings we get on such investigation? Endometrial thickness which is above 4 millimeter. Hyperechoic endometrium with irregular outline. Increased vascularity with low vascular resistance and intracavitary fluid. These findings are in favor of CA endometrium. Hysteroscopy helps in direct visualization of endometrium, and that will help to take biopsy sample. From where to take biopsy sample, that we can know from the hysteroscopy. Functional curettage is the very definitive, very sure method of diagnosis. It also detects the extent of growth. It is not done for a week, for 7 days if pyometra is present, and it should not be done to avoid perforation and systemic infection. If pyometra is relieved, it may be done after a week. CT scan of the pelvis and abdomen to detect lymph node metastasis. And MRI may be helpful to find out myometrial invasion and endocervical spread. So that was all about diagnosis of endometrial carcinoma. We'll talk about the treatment of this condition in the next session. Thank you.